which will be replaced in the next 50 days, God willing. The Democrats will have 2 years. 2 years. If we don't get the Senate back in the next 50 days, the Democrats will have 2 years to sign up over 30 million illegal immigrants. They will be getting Social Security benefits, food stamps, and voting cards. And the America we know will be a thing of the past. These people are here illegally. They are criminals. There's not a country in the world that is stupid enough to give citizenship to people who invade our country. We have a Marine in Mexico who crossed in, not illegally, but he illegally brought weapons. He disobeyed the law of the land, and he's in jail. And every one of these people ought to be in jail, just as we have had citizens in jail in North Korea for trespassing the border, in Iraq, in Afghanistan, Iran. Any country that finds invaders crossing their borders without permission locks them up for varying amounts of time and then deports their butts. Nobody, no country is stupid enough to give them citizenship, to forgive them and start giving them taxpayers' money, feeding them and educating their spawn. Virtually everybody in America is pro-immigration. America was built on immigrants coming in from other countries, from all over the place. But there's a process. And if you don't follow the process, you ought to be deported. I wouldn't even jail them. I just deport them. Why even feed them? Put them in our jails and feed them? No. Deport them. And start setting up sentries on the border. If they're crossing, invading our country, we see 10 people crossing, shoot the first 4. Let the other 6 go back and tell about it. It wouldn't take but a month, and you couldn't pay people to cross our border. And if Obama thought that the illegals were going to vote Republican, he'd have a fence built in 6 months. He's trying to destroy us with the open borders, overburdening our systems, our welfare system, our housing system, our voting system. It's been his plan from day one. He taught the Cloward-Piven strategy in Columbia University. I'll talk about that when we come back. Please stay with us.
KCAA. Tom O'Halloran has a not-so-common core spelling lesson for the Obama administration. Ready? There is no K in America.
There's kids that can't pray in school, $100 tanks of gas. I can tell you right now, this country ain't supposed to be like that. No, that ain't my America. That ain't this country's roots. You wanna slam on the Sam, but I ain't letting you. Yeah, I'm mad as hell, and you know I still bleed red, white, and blue. They ain't us, and that ain't my America. Oh no, that ain't my America. No, 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 no. That ain't my America.
Welcome back. This is Patriot Radio, and I'm your host, Tom O'Halloran. I did a barbecue this last weekend, and I had a smoker last summer, and I was smoking meat virtually every week. I'd have about a 15-pound brisket, 17-pound brisket in the smoker, couple of pork butts, couple slabs of ribs. I was learning how to use the smoker. I've cooked all my life and I've grilled all my life, but the smoker thing was new. So got my skills down, got to the point where I do a pretty decent job of it. And freezer was getting kind of low on the smoked meat, so I loaded it all up. Went to the store and bought my first piece of meat I bought was a brisket. I was buying these last year for $2.24 a pound. $2.24. Now, when you buy a 20-pound brisket, that's still a pretty good piece of change for a bit of lunch. But I bought a 20-pound brisket this last week, and it was $3.95 a pound. $4. $4 a pound. I spent $80 for a slab of beef. Now, what a lot of Americans don't realize, and when you see the inflation numbers coming out of the government, that's always included your gasoline, your heating expenses for your house. It's included your groceries. A whole range of different things have been included in that. And it's worked real well for decades. But Obama tweaked these numbers. Now when you hear the inflation stats, it doesn't include your grocery bill. Your grocery bill, where a good hamburger you used to pay $5 or $6 for, now they're like $9 and $10. Potato chips that used to be in a 24-ounce bag are now in 16-ounce bags. The price has still gone up. It's gone up 20 to 30% in some cases. But everything, cookies, crackers, virtually everything in the store has gone up and at the same time been repackaged into smaller packages so you don't notice the inflation quite so much. But even if it was the same size and the prices were double, the numbers wouldn't show up in the inflation thing. So all of the we're in good shape, our economy's turning around stats, they're lies. Surprise. Let me point out some ways that the middle class is being destroyed. In 2007, the average household in the top 5%, the rich guys, they had 16.5 times as much wealth as the average household overall. Now they've got 24 times as much. 1 out of every 7 households right now rely on food banks. 1 out of every 7. 1 out of every 4 military families needs help putting food on the table. Our military needs help putting food on the table. 79% of the people that use food banks purchase inexpensive, unhealthy food just to have enough to feed their families. 1 out of every 3 adults in the United States has an unpaid debt that's in collections. Out of 48%, only 48% of all Americans can immediately come up with $400 in emergency cash without borrowing or selling something. The price of food continues to rise much faster than paychecks for middle class. For example, the average price of ground beef just hit a new all-time record high of $3.88.4 per pound. All-time record. According to one recent study, 40% of all households are experiencing financial stress right now. Overall, home ownership has dropped to the lowest level since 1995. Home ownership rates for those under 35 is at an all-time low. According to one recent survey, 52% of Americans cannot even afford the house they are living in right now. Folks, I promise you, by the time we're done, you're going to be agitated. How's this feeling? A little cold slap of reality, isn't it? If you're out there struggling, know that you're not alone. It's not you. It's the economy. It's Obama. It's his stupid, inept, moronic policies. The average age of vehicles on American roads has just hit an all-time high of 11.4 years. People can't afford to buy new cars. Last year, 1 out of every 4 auto loans was made to someone with subprime credit. Amazingly, 1 out of every 6 men in their prime working years, that's 25 to 54, do not have a job. 1 out of every 6. 40% of unemployed Americans have completely given up looking for work. 36% of Americans don't have a single penny saved for retirement. According to one survey, 76% of all Americans are living paycheck to paycheck to paycheck. Sound familiar? More than half of all working Americans make less than $30,000 a year. Only 4 of the 20 fastest growing occupations requires a bachelor's degree or better. Only 4 out of 20. The fastest growing jobs are in restaurants, hotels, janitorial. In America today, 1 out of every 10 jobs is filled by a temporary agency. Companies don't want to hire people. The health care expenses are too great. Due to a lack of decent jobs, half of all college graduates are still relying on the parents financially when they're 2 years out of school. The median household in the United States is about 7% lower than it was after the 2000, adjusting for inflation. Approximately 1 out of every 4 part-time workers in America is living below the poverty line. It's hard to believe, but 1 out of every 5 children in the United States is living in poverty in 2014. And Obama's trying to tell you that the recovery is going fine. Are you buying that? According to one study, there are 49 million Americans that are dealing with food insecurity. They don't know where they're going to get their meals from 1 week to the next. 10 years ago, the number of women in the United States that had jobs outnumbered men by 2 to 1. But now women are on food stamps. The number of women on food stamps actually exceeds the number of women that have jobs. There are more women on food stamps than there are with jobs. And Obama's trying to tell you that the Republicans have a war on women? If the middle class is truly thriving, we wouldn't have more than 1 million public school children that are homeless. Over 1 million school children are homeless in America. And if you can believe it, Americans received more than $2 trillion in benefits from the government last year alone. $2 trillion in benefits from the federal government last year alone, and that doesn't count state benefits. In terms of median wealth per adult, the United States is 19th place worldwide. Now, how sad is that? We have fallen on so many charts since Obama took office. I can't even keep track. Prosperity-wise, education-wise, health-wise, we have fallen in every chart. We've had our credit rating demoted for the first time in history under Obama. Folks, it's not too late to get our country back, but we've got an election coming up in 50 days. Call your local Republican Party. Find out what you can do to help get people out to vote. They need precinct walkers. They need people manning phone banks. Get involved. We're in this situation because enough people sat on their butts and didn't vote. This is Tom O'Halloran. God bless you. I'm out.